call the regular meeting of the Board of Education to order at 7 p.m. Thank you to all of you for coming, and for those that will be watching a recording of this meeting on YouTube in the future. All board members are present with the exception of Michelle Heika. She is excused tonight, and we do have a quorum. At this time, I invite those willing and able to rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you. As we start tonight's meeting, the Board of Education has a single unified statement for the community regarding its negotiations with the Milan Education Association. So I will read the statement in its entirety. The Milan Area School Board of Education and Milan Education Association had a successful mediation meeting on Friday, February 9th, 2026. The board is pleased to share that the Milan Education Association and the Milan Area School Board of Education reached a tentative agreement on teacher wages for the 25-26 school year to be applied retroactively. Our two groups are scheduled to meet on Wednesday, February 18th to address any remaining contract language. Once the parties reach agreement on all outstanding issues, the tentative agreements will be brought to the bargaining unit and the Board of Education for ratification. The board is thankful to the Milan Education Association for its commitment to Milan students and the community. Okay. All right. Before we move on to public comment, I need a motion to remove consideration of the master agreement with the Milan Area Schools Transportation Association.
Motion by Fryer.
Second by Sislo.
Okay, Mr. McMahon.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Farrow. We are suggesting that we remove the item from the agenda tonight in light of the budget amendment we're going to talk about in a little bit and the progress we made with the teachers, the MEA union this week. I went and met with the Transportation Department yesterday and suggested we do that, and everybody's in favor, so it's going to be good for all parties.
Any questions from the board? Okay, we'll move on. We'll move to a vote. Proceed with the vote. Ms. Murray.
Okay. Farrow,
Yes.
Gutierrez,
Yes.
Heika, absent. Murray, yes. Pryor,
Yes.
Sislo,
Yes.
Burdette.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries 6-0.
Thank you. We will now move on to our first public comment period. Trustee Sislo has graciously agreed to serve as tonight's timekeeper. Be advised, this meeting is a meeting of the Board of Education in public for the purpose of conducting the school district's business and is not to be considered a public meeting. There are 2 times for public participation during the meeting as indicated on the agenda. When addressing the board, you'll be asked to state your name. The board determines the amount of time granted to individuals or groups to speak. Each person shall be allowed to speak up to 3 minutes. Board members may question speakers but are not obligated to answer questions or make statements or commitments in response to issues raised by the public. In general, such items will be referred to the superintendent for advisement, investigation, study, and/or recommendation, or designated as a future agenda item for board consideration. So first up is student board representative comments. Ms. Heika.
So I really quickly just wanted to thank the volunteers, sponsors, and anyone who helped out with the coho dance on Saturday. A lot of students enjoyed it, and I know people put a lot of work into it. So I just wanted to thank everyone, and the sponsors were very generous. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Heika. Are there any students here that would like to address the Board of Education? Are there any public members that would like to address the Board of Education tonight? Okay, thank you. We will move on. We're going to move on to Finance and Operations. Ms. Hendricks, our Executive Director for Finance, is going to provide the Board of Education information detailing a proposed 2025-2026 General Fund Amendment. Just for the board's awareness, this is a first reading. We will not be voting on this tonight. Ms. Hendricks.
Okay, each of you should have in front of you a copy of the budget amendment.
As you will note, as in the past, the first column is the budget that was adopted by the board in June. The second column is what I'm proposing to be our amended budget, and the last column just reflects the increase or decrease by category. You will note that the revenues went up by 4.9 million, expenditures went up by 3.7 million. So overall, our revenues exceeded our expenditures, or are exceeding our expenditures by about $1.2 million. However, I am still proposing a use of $1.4 million of fund balance. That will bring us from last year we ended, our ending fund balance for the 24-25 school year was 10.89%. The unrestricted, or the restricted plus unrestricted fund balance based on this amendment would be at 5.8%. The second page of the document you have gives a little more detail as to how those numbers, what makes up those numbers. You will see that 2.2 million of both the revenue and expenditure increases are based on grants or funding specific to a certain program. It includes at-risk, our allocation went up, and also the amount of carryover that was not budgeted in the first year. It includes increases to our GSRP budget. All in total, there are about 30 numbers that make up that, 30 different grants that make up that 2.2 million. There were some changes to what I had budgeted for the Act 18 millage. As in the past, I always budget very cautiously when I bring the budget to you in May. There are a number of unknowns at that point, no state budget, possibilities of funding going up, going down, or staying flat. So we have always budgeted cautiously, knowing that at this point we will, as some people say, find money. Truly, it's just correcting the budget. It's not finding anything. In the revenue area, you will also see that we have an increase of $1.1 million for the MIPSR's UAL rate stabilization. Those are funds that come into the school district on the 20th in our state aid payment, and on the 27th we have to pay it back to ORS. So it's reflected in the revenues and in the expenditures, but there's really no monetary impact on the district with those funds. As far as the expenditures, I did reflect the cost of the mold remediation issue, but the revenues also reflect the insurance claim on that. There was a reduction in our tuition for the WAVE, Y-High, and ECA programs based on student enrollment, so that is reflected. I have a couple larger ticket items that would not have been in the original budget, a diesel tank repair, platforms for the swimming pool area. The budget does look better than it did. These numbers also reflect increased wages based on the number that had been at the last presentation at the negotiation table for all groups. As Mr. Farrow stated, we had a meeting on Monday with the MEA. That information will not be reflected until we have a final negotiated contract with them. But this does have the last board table offer. There were some reductions to staffing expenses due to new hires coming in a little bit less, or in some cases quite a bit less than their predecessors. And we also had asked the state, and we received authorization to move some staff into the at-risk budget that we had not done before, so that will free up general fund dollars and use up part of our at-risk allocation. Does anybody have any questions?
Mr. Farrow? Yes? Okay, thank you, Mrs. Hendricks. This is very helpful. Just a couple of clarifications. So the amendment includes the most recent offer to MEA, but not what was in the TA.
It includes the most recent offer in negotiations. The mediation number is not in here.
Okay, perfect, thank you. And then, just to clarify as well, when we say that we have 3.7 million of additional expenditures based upon our approved budget, that's largely reflective of these pass-throughs, right? 2.3 million of grants that were received, which then we then spend, and the 1.2 million of the MIPSers pass-through, correct?
That makes up a very
Large
big
portion.
chunk of that.
So I just
yes.
want to be clear, I think, to the community that it's not that the budget was $3.8 million off. It's just that the original budget didn't include these monies that pass through. Thank you.
Any other questions from the board?
Mr. Fair. I wondered if, Ms. Hendricks, if you could talk just briefly about the, if I'm reading this correctly, we have our total ending fund balance projected at 5.8%. But then if you look down at the bottom, there's the unassigned fund balance, which reflects the PECC assigned fund.
That is correct. The
So
P-
could you talk a little bit about that
Sure.
for us as well as the public?
So the PECC, our early childhood program, is tuition based. All the monies that they bring in are supposed to be supporting their program. A few years back, when we went through everything with COVID, we received additional funding from the state for that program, and that enabled their fund balance to increase. We're slowly spending it down, but it truly is early child care center monies. They're not monies that the district can use. They're raised by the program for the program only. So they do have a $700,000 fund balance in their program. So that is the difference between the 5.8 total fund balance percentage and the 3.83 fund balance percentage that is unassigned.
Thank you, I appreciate that. I wanted to be sure that I was understanding that correctly and how that impacts how we think about it when we keep in mind our, 5% bare minimum fund balance target. When we look at being at a total ending fund balance of 5.8%, that keeps us above that mark, correct? However, our effective fund balance is really slightly less than that because we don't have access to those PECC funds.
Correct.
Okay, great, thank you.
And I'll just add that the fund balance of 3.83 is far less than the board goal of 10%. Any other questions from board members?
I have one more question. I think this is for the community as well, just to remind them that at a meeting, a few meetings back, we voted to unassign several key line items in the budget, and that's reflected here, correct?
Yes, it
And
is.
so that includes things like building and grounds, buses, technology. And so those became unassigned because many of those are things that can be supported by the sinking fund, which our community generously voted in. So that is now reflected on our budget amendment.
That is correct.
Any other questions from board members on the first reading?
Just a couple more comments,
Yes.
Mr. Farrow. I appreciate everybody bringing up the board still has a 10% goal, so we're far below the 10% board goal. And again, to those that were at the Big Red Board Chat last night, I appreciate that, those attending, and here again this evening, that, our auditor still recommends anywhere from a 15 to 20% fund balance. And then it's also important to note that if we do go below a 5% audited fund balance, this is where state intervention takes place, where we would have no say in the decisions in regards to this money. So it's very important to note that. And we're talking about the fund balance just to help people understand, that's really the savings account of the school. And what this budget is now proposing is that we're spending out of that savings account $1.4 million. So we are still in a deficit spending mode, where we're spending more than we have in revenues. So it's important to note that, just like Ms. Hendricks stated, this is not found money. We are still spending more money than we are making. And it's important to note that.
Thank you for that. Any other questions from the board? Okay, thank you, Ms. Hendricks. All right, next up on the agenda in the area of personnel and leadership, I need a motion to approve Ms. Heidi Phelps as the Director of Student Services effective February 25th, 2026.
Moved by Murray.
Support by Burdette.
Okay, I have a motion and support. Is there any discussion? Mr. McMahon?
Thank you, Mr. Farrow. Yes, I'm asking you to approve Heidi Phelps. She's here with us with her son Colt and husband Derek. We appreciate them coming to the meeting. This is for the Executive Director of Student Services position created by the vacancy from Lon Smith's retirement at the end of this month. Lon's going to be difficult to replace, but we got an excellent candidate sitting in front of us. We posted the position on all the MASSA and MASA websites. We followed our regular protocols for hiring and the interview process. We had a pool of strong candidates to consider, but Heidi stood out above others for a number of factors. We believe she's going to be a great fit to our instructional and supports. She's going to be a great fit with our instructional support staff team and a great member of our administrative team. Her current role is the supervisor and coordinator of transition services at Novi Community School District, and they're not happy with me right now. I had a phone call yesterday, and their loss, our gain. Heidi earned her doctorate degree in organizational leadership with an emphasis in special education, so it's Dr. Phelps sitting in front of us. We're really excited for her to join the team, and I shared a resume with you to review.
Any other discussion by the board?
Is she going to be handling Title IX?
Yes.
Go ahead.
I would just like to say welcome, Dr. Phelps, and your son sitting there is so adorable, sitting next to you. So we're so glad to have you all here.
Yes, welcome to Milan. Thank you for choosing Milan. We're looking forward to working with you. Any other questions or comments from the board? All right, we have a motion and support to approve Dr. Heidi Phelps as Director of Student Services effective February 25th. Ms. Murray?
Thank you. Farrow,
Yes.
Gutierrez,
Yes.
Murray, yes. Pryor,
Yes.
Sislo,
Yes.
Burdette,
Yes.
and motion carries 6-0.
Congratulations. Welcome. All right, we're now back to public comments. Are there any additional public comments? Just a reminder, the same rules described in advance of the first public comment period apply here. Kindly keep your comments to 3 minutes or less. Are there any students that would like to address the Board of Education? Are there any public members that would like to address the Board of Education? Hearing none, we'll move on. Thank you. All right, next up on the agenda is Ms. Bookout with the Assistant Superintendent comments.
Thank you, Mr. Farrow. I have two informational updates to share with the board and with the community. The first is I want to highlight our annual education reports, which are often referred to as the AERs. These reports are required each year under state and federal laws. And these AERs provide a snapshot of school performance and accountability, which includes student assessment reports, growth data, educator qualifications, and information related to school improvement. Our AERs are now available on the district website, and they have links to the district and individual school pages on My School Data. I also want to share that later this week, we'll be sending out a short survey related to our sex education and reproductive health education programs. We are currently reviewing these programs to ensure they're meeting the needs of our students and reflect the values and expectations of our community. So the survey was developed by the state of Michigan and will be used to gather feedback from parents and also from the general community. Participation is voluntary, but we hope to have as many parents and community members participate as possible, as that input will inform our discussions about our future curriculum starting next year. So I encourage all of our families and community members to check out that survey when they receive it and to complete that so that we have that information for us. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Bookout. Next up is Mr. McMahon, Superintendent comments.
Mr. Farrow, thank you. I got a few comments tonight. I want to start by offering some praise to our Board of Education. There was an article released this week, and in my memo, I honored our folks for their work in the certification training programs through MASB. We had 5 award winners And I'm going to read them off. So we have Mr. Sislo, a level 6 Master Platinum Award and the Community Relations Specialty Award. Ms. Gutierrez is a level 1 certification board member. Did I get it right? Yeah. Okay. And a level 2 Award of Merit. Mr. Burdett, level 1 Certified Board Member Award and level 2 Award of Merit. Ms. Murray, a level 3 Award of Distinction, and Mr. Farrow, a level 3 Award of Distinction. Compared to all the districts in Michigan, we were one of 8, I think, that had at least 5 members earning an award, and the second smallest. So really happy to be working for a board that is promoting ongoing education. So thank you for your work. I do want to share with the board and the community that our Filter First work has commenced in the district. This goes back a couple years. The state put a grant out there. It's to address drinking water issues and to replace, repair, in some cases add filters to our drinking water, and then label those drinking or sources that are not drinking water. It's a huge grant. Chris, I think it was over $400,000 that we got from the state to address this work. Or 200,000, not quite that huge, half that, excuse me. But it took us some time to do the planning, to get the quotes. Our director of facilities, Gary Cox, came in and was able to contract some vendors, so we got them working in the district now, so we're looking forward to getting through that. I would like to offer some praise to our district counseling and support providers in honor of National School Counseling Week, which was last week. Thank you to our social workers, school counselors, psychologists, and behavior specialists for all they do for our students. I also want to offer some gratitude to our school resource officer, Brandon Marshall, because it is School Resource Officer Day on February 15th. Special thanks to Officer Marshall and all the officers at the Milan Police Department for all they do to maintain safety in our schools and community. And one more appreciation, this one goes out to our transportation department. It is, you might have seen on social media, it's National Love the Bus Month, February. That's what it's called officially. And their official day is February 22nd, which I believe is a Sunday. So maybe we honor them on a day they don't have to go to work. Yep. Our transportation department, they work diligent and hard every day to get our kids to school safely. In this new position I've had, I got to spend a lot of time with them and getting to know them, building relationships, and I'm so thankful for the work they do. When we call weather or we consider inclement weather days, they're there to step up and do what it takes. So I'm really, really proud of the work they do. I would like to welcome our new Executive Director of Student Services, Dr. Heidi Phelps. We're really looking forward to having Heidi join us. I know she'll be a great fit, and we're going to hit the ground running real soon. So welcome. And I would also like to wish everybody a restful, long weekend. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McMahon. All right, we're up to individual board comments right now. Are there any individual board comments? Ms. Pryor.
I wanted to say that I had the ability to attend some MASB trainings over the last week. I had attended 3, 2 for the Institute and 1 last Tuesday. They were regarding ethics in action, leadership by consensus, and then the name is slipping my mind of one involving data, but Mr. Farrow did attend that with me, so maybe he can remember that name. But they were all excellent trainings, very informative about how to work with people to reach consensus even when you disagree, how to maintain ethical leadership while you're on the board, when questions may come up, especially since we are such an involved and small community, how you make those choices to maintain ethical standards. And it was really interesting learning about the student data and the loss of just kids of school age to attend school across the U.S. and especially in Michigan. Birth rates have declined, public school enrollment has declined, and just seeing the charts they put out going like this down all across the country and especially in Michigan was very telling to the choices that we have to make as a public school and public schools across the state on how we operate for the students that we have and not the ones that we don't. So that was interesting. I want to welcome Dr. Phelps and her family. Congratulations. I look forward to getting to know you more. I was also didn't receive any comments about discussing any of the policies that were assigned for this meeting, so I think that they were good. Just to remind the community, I've made a list of dates for every every board meeting has a list of 13 to 14 policies that the board is expected to look at. And if there's any changes or things we need to discuss to make it more appropriate for our district, then I'm asking them to let me know, and so we can put it and discuss it in open session. So far, so good. So for the next meeting, we have 13 additional ones, and if you have anything you want to discuss in open session, please let me know. The only other thing I'd like to mention tonight is that, just a reminder that the Greater Milan Area Community Foundation's gala is coming up February 28th. There are still tickets available. If you want to be a sponsor, sponsorships are available all the way to the end, but if you want to be in the program or have your name on the flyer or on the big sign at the place, the money and the ticket purchase is due by Friday. And as a reminder to everyone, the foundation provides an extensive amount of support to our school district as far as several programs that we run here. It's been my experience so far that when other school districts find out we have a foundation that supports our schools so intensely, that they're very jealous that we have a group that provides this extra things to our school to operate things like the Be Nice and the Therapy Dogs, among other things. So if you can support the foundation in any way, please purchase a ticket. You can go to cfmonroe.org /affiliate, and you can find Milan and purchase a ticket there. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other board comments?
Mr. Farrow.
Yes.
I do want to reiterate, thank you to those that attended the Big Red Board Chat last night. Well attended. We appreciate the questions. I thought it was a great session. Appreciate Ms. Gutierrez and Mr. Farrow being there as well. And thank you to everyone that's showing up this evening, staff as well, and welcome Dr. Phelps and your family. Very happy to have you, and thank you for choosing Milan. So, yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Dr. Gutierrez.
It was more of a suggestion than a comment. I too was delighted to see so many people at the Big Red Board Chat last night, and I think Mr. Farrow and Mr. Sislo and I put in some learning on our own behalves to put together the PowerPoint that Tom presented last night, and I think it had some really great information, and we might want to consider posting that on our school website for the many people that can't be there. I think it had some good figures, both in terms of where the revenue in Milan is coming from and looking at the changes in how much we receive from the state versus local versus federal, as well as to the point Mrs. Pryor was making, looking at the decline in student enrollment across the state of Michigan and how that has been consistent. And so this is something we continue to reflect on and hear from our community often, and I think it's important that we recognize that this is not just a Milan concern, it is a statewide concern, and so I think that that information would be broadly useful for all of our community members. And I think that's all I had.
Thank you. Any other board comments?
I also want to welcome Dr. Phelps. Thanks for choosing Milan. We appreciate that you're here. I just real quick want to plug the Milan High School production of Cinderella that's coming up on March 12th, 13th, and 14th. I know that the kids are working very, very hard, and our theater kids always put on a great show, so please come see it. And then lastly, I just want to wish all of the high school athletes luck as we move into our district playoff competition season here. So thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Murray, do you have any comments?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Farrow. Welcome, Dr. Phelps and family. Also, I'll echo that. We're very excited to have you, and later I'd love to talk with you about transition services, your experience. I support a lot of our transition teachers in my day job, so welcome. I want to extend my thanks to the Transportation Department for all of the work that they do on a daily basis. Even when the roads are not great, they're determined to be safe. They're safe because of our drivers having the expertise that they have in order to get those vehicles where they need to go with our most precious cargo on them. So thank you for the work that they do all the time. And to our counseling department, I really want to express my gratitude for them as well. They are a huge part of what makes it possible here in Milan for us to really educate the whole child and not just focus on our academic core subjects and things like that. Our counseling department are instrumental in being able to address all of the needs that our students come to school with. So I deeply appreciate them as my former colleagues and current service members in our community. I want to take a moment to thank the administration for responding to community feedback around the concerns with immigration and the actions that have been going on in our county. I deeply appreciate that communication was sent to staff in terms of clarifying what our protocols are and how our students are protected both by state and federal law as well as FERPA and things like that. I thought that communication was very timely and valuable and again in response to community questions, so thank you for that. And then I also want to thank the administration for working with our students to exercise their First Amendment rights recently. That's been a trend, not just in our county, but in the wider state as well. And there's case law, Tinker Des Moines, 1969, that supports students' rights to freedom of expression, that they don't check their First Amendment rights at the schoolhouse gate, I think was the quote from the court case. And although that's a really delicate balance, because as a school district, we have a responsibility to continue to conduct a safe and productive learning environment, there can't be a substantial disruption to learning. That's the caveat to Tinker Des Moines, right? I just really want to thank the administration for the extra effort that it took to have those conversations and to feel through those tensions, because those are difficult conversations to have. And I want to thank our students for engaging in that process as well. And that's all I have for tonight. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I too want to thank Dr. Gutierrez, Mr. Sislo, Mr. McMahon, the folks that came out last night to the Big Red Board chat. I thought it was a very valuable meeting, and there was two-way communication, which is something that we have really worked hard at trying to make ourselves available to the community so that they can ask questions. And I do like the suggestion that Dr. Gutierrez has, which is that we can put that PowerPoint presentation on our website. So I will get that to Superintendent McMahon so that that can be posted on our website. The next Big Red Board chat will be in the month of April. It'll be at 6:30 p.m. on April 16th. The topic will be board service, question and answer. As many of you are aware, there's an election coming up soon. So we thought that would be a good topic for the next Big Red Board chat. And then just an informational piece for the board here. In terms of the board policy review, please read and review policies 2501A through F-4, 2503 through 2506, 3101 through 3107, in advance of the February 25th meeting. And then finally, I was able to take some MASB courses over the weekend. I took 4 courses. That is not something I will be doing in the future, but it was very good information and helpful to me as a board member, and I appreciate Mr. McMahon and the district helping to support me and others on the board with continuing education. So, any other board comments at this time? Okay, next item on the agenda is a closed session of the board to discuss negotiation strategies. Just so everyone is aware, there are no actions taken immediately following. There will be no actions taken immediately following our closed session other than to adjourn the meeting. Those of you in attendance can stay, but you do not need to stay beyond this point, as we will simply adjourn the meeting when we return from closed session. I need a motion to enter into closed session pursuant to Section 8(1)(c) of the Michigan Open Meetings Act for negotiation strategies.
Moved by Burdette.
Support by Gutierrez.
Okay, I have a motion by Mr. Burdette and support by Dr. Gutierrez to enter into closed session pursuant to Section 8(1)(c) of the Michigan Open Meetings Act for negotiation strategies. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, Ms. Murray.
Thank you. Hi, excuse me. Murray, yes. Pryor,
Yes.
Sislo,
Yes.
Burdette,
Yes.
Farrow,
Yes.
Gutierrez.
Yes.
Motion carries 6-0.
Okay, thank you. The board is entering into closed session at 7:34 p.m. Thank you all. All right, the board is returning from closed session at 8:21, and the meeting is adjourned at 8:21.